Germany Chancellor Scholz signals that he's open to the discussion on the date of an early election. So 1 minute now until we get the market on open imbalance and the US cash equity open for the last time this week.
Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus preliminary University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report.
The S&P 500, a buy side of 100
My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember that I am not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully.
Reports that the UK and EU
Okay, let me know that
following
you
Trump's
can see
victory
me,
in the US election.
you can hear me, you can see the charts, you can hear the charts. Let me know. Mic check, mic check. I want to welcome everyone who's watching us on YouTube. Thanks for joining. Markets are just now opening. Okay, thank you, Fred. Okie dokie. So let's talk about preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment. This is a dual report. It's got the inflation news. It has consumer confidence news. And it has been a little bit inconsistent as of late, so we'll keep that in mind. Let's take a look at the DMM and see what it's been up to. I definitely have some settings that I'm going to use on this report. Now, if you notice, there's actually three ways. We have three ways to trade this report. You can see clearly that the gold breakout has been performing pretty poorly. But the trap trades are safer, in my opinion, for sure. Interestingly, I'm going to go with the ES trap. That's what I'm going to trade today. Both of the trap trades are set up for safety. So what do I mean by that? Yeah, what do I mean by that? Yeah, what do I mean by that? Anybody remember where that comes from? If you remember where that phrase comes from, you are older than dirt. What do I mean by that? No Googling, no Googling. Who knows where that came from? I can't believe it just entered my mind today. No one's going to know. No one's going to know. Anyway, I'll give 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. It was a comedian's show, and he got suspended for 2 weeks when he was drunk, and he asked all the kids that watch his show, it was a children's show, to go into their parents' wallets and send him the green stuff. He got suspended. He was drunk on TV. It was afternoon TV in the old days when TV was live. It was the Soupy Sales Show. Now, how do I know that? Just because I'm an expert on old TV shows, or maybe I'm older than dirt. Maybe it could be that. That's possible. I loved Soupy Sales. He was so funny. Anyway, so what we've got is the preliminary University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report. It has not been trading all that well. You can see been a bunch of stops. Actually, in October, we've been trading the trap, so we did not have a fill. So we did not have a stop on it. So that's a good thing. And that was the gold trade. And the ES most probably would not have had a fill last month either. So when I say that our trap trades are set up for safety, what I'm meaning is when you look at the stop and you look at the second tier. So for instance, on gold, I would normally trade this with tier 1 of 15, tier 2 of 30, and a stop of 25. So when we analyze the report, this particular event, and the way that it bursts, if
During
you
Tuesday's
notice,
results on the
even on the
subject of possible
winners,
US tariffs under
23
Trump, says
ticks,
that the EU has
29
the
ticks,
competency to do
our
what is
zone of
necessary, but we
safety
should seek talks.
is well within 57, let's say 55 ticks, 25 stop, 30 outer tier. So the event would have to spike 55 ticks. We're not seeing that kind of explosive moves on this trade, but we are seeing occasional good sized moves. The 23 would fill us, the 29 would fill us, the 17 would fill us. So if there's a decent move, we'll get filled if you take the gold trap trade. And the same is true on the ES. I could have used smaller tiers on both of these setups, but with all the volatility in the markets this week, with the outsized moves that we're seeing, I thought that it might be better that if I'm going to trade this, I want to trade it with a little bit of extra safety, and I'll use the larger tiers that we normally were set to use. If there wasn't an election, if there wasn't such a giant rally that had been going on all week, I might have shrunk the tiers this week, this month, I should say, for the report. But given the behavior of the markets, I think that we're going to go with safety rather than aggressive behavior. Okay. Any questions? Anyone have a question? Still drinking pumpkin? I'll drink pumpkin until they take it off the market. And but I don't like anything else pumpkin. I don't eat pumpkin donuts. I don't really care for pumpkin muffins. I mean, you know, one thing pumpkin was enough, but now the whole world is a mass of pumpkin, miserable foolishness. Enough pumpkin. All right. So how am I going to trade this? So I've got an ES trap trade. And what is a trap trade anyway? What is a trap trade? So a trap trade is a setup where we feel this event is going to change direction. If it doesn't change direction, then it'll blow me out of my trade. It will stop me out. If it keeps going in one direction and it goes more than 45 ticks on the ES, and I'm thinking I
Officials
might
seem to believe that the
increase the
US will
stop on
raise
the
tariffs
ES
under
to
a Donald
20.
Trump
I
administration, with
probably
China
will
likely to
do
be a
that.
particular
That'll
target.
give us a zone of safety of 50 ticks on the ES. So here's how I'm going to trade the ES. Right click the chart and click on strategies. Double click on trap trade. As I was saying, a trap trade is a specialized reversal trade that we expect there will be a burst and a reverse or a burst and a pop. All right. I expect that there will be a reversal from the initial reaction to this report because that's the way this report behaves. Okay. Now, Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. Activate our entry. The time of event, if you're using the old software, you just say 10 o'clock Eastern time. Prep 5 seconds. 5 seconds of prep. That's if you're using the previous version of the software. For all of the folks that have downloaded the current versions, which everyone should do, the trap trade activation is 9:59:55. It's 5 seconds before the news comes out. 9:59:55. The stop, as I said, is 20. Tier 1 is 22. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Let me just look at one thing. Let me just look at my notes. Okay, yep, that's what I'm going to do. 22 and 30 and 32. 22 and 32. Those are the tiers I'm using. I'm going to label it ES trap. Okay, ES trap 2232 on the tiers. Tiers are a fancy way to say brackets. That's all it is. It's just a fancy way to say brackets. It has to do with the old day, back in the day when when the software was designed. My boss, that's the way he set it up. We call these orders tiers, TIERS, not TEARS, and we're very happy to keep it that way. But think of it as a bracket. What's it called when two words sound exactly the same, but they're spelled differently? Who's an English major? Two words that sound exactly the same, they're pronounced the exact same way, but they're spelled differently. Onomatopoeia? I know it's not that. What's it called? Because tears, tears from heaven, Eric Clapton, as opposed to how large are your tears? Our tears are 22 ticks and 32 ticks. Does no one know? No one know? Two words that sound alike but are spelled differently? Come on. Now you can Google. Someone can Google that for me, would you? Google that. 22 tier 1, 32 tier 2, 20 on the stop, 9:59:55 on our trigger time, on our entry, trading it in our prop, okay? Putting my charts on the prop. And very good, Alan. That's true. There's multiple twos, right, in the English language. So what are they called? What's that called? If you're studying English, that has a name. That has a name. In other words, let me go to Google. We have plenty of time, folks, for the trade. I'm going to set up the gold trade. What's it called? I can't spell pronounced. What's it called when two words pronounced the same spelled differently? Homophones. It's a homophone. Homophone. Yeah, I guess homophone. It's either homophone or homophone. And we're going to leave it right there without any stupid comments. Okay. So that's what it's called. That's what it's called. There you go. I thought it was something different, to be honest. That doesn't ring the bell that I thought it might ring. I really thought it was it had a different name. So, anyway, so we have ourselves a couple of homophones today, tears and tears. And I would hope that we are not going to be crying any tears from our tears. All right. So our ES tiers and our ES setup, very simple to set up a trap trade. Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. 9:50, 9:55 Eastern time on our trigger. My stop is 20. Tier 1 is 22. Tier 2 is 32. All right. I'm labeling it ES trap and I'm trading it in my top account. I'm expecting a very important delivery today. My new old phone is being delivered. I bought the exact same phone that I have, which means I bought an old used phone because mine is broken. All right, gold. Let's set up the gold chart. GC 1224 is our gold chart. Gold is a little bit negative today, not out of the ordinary. Gold, what a week. What a volatile week gold had this week. The day after the election, I think gold was down $80. Was it that much? I think I remember seeing it during the day on Wednesday, down $80. Can you imagine that? That's incredible. I don't think I've ever seen that on gold. I'm just putting gold on points in my net change display indicator so I could see how many dollars it's up or down. And we have a gold magnet getting ready to take place right probably from this news. If you don't like trap trades, you can set up a magnet trade, and here's how you would do it. It may test that low before the news, so that's what you want to be aware of. Right click, click on strategies, click on magnet, high of day, low of day, make the percent proximity 5. Leave everything else alone except if you want to trade it live, choose an account that you're going to trade it on, label it GC, magnet trade, apply it and OK it. And then when you turn on the magnet, it shows us our fill is too close. So our proximity is too close. It needs to be a larger number. Let's make the proximity 10. Excuse me. Apply it and OK it. Now turn it back on. So our proximity, our fill, our sell is going to be 2690. Is that really 40? 2690, 40. And then 20, let's check. I want to see my crosshair. Yeah, 2690, 40 is our sell. That's going to be our sell. And it's going to fill before we get to the low. I would probably let it, I would let it go right there. I would do it right there. Turn off the long, okay, by pressing long, so short stays on. And if you're going to trade it, you could turn the magnet on by clicking the magnet button. Excuse me. By clicking the magnet button and keep an eye on price. If price starts getting close to being filled before the news, click the button again to turn it off. Okay. I'm actually going to trade the magnet in my other prop account because I've got one trap. Managing two traps is tricky, and that's a really good magnet. Look at the gold. It's negative. We've got news. There's a very good possibility. What's the worst that could happen? It could go up, and you could play the magnet to the upside. 2696. It's way too far away on the upside. I don't think there's a possibility it's going to get there unless there's a monster move on this trade. I like a magnet to the short side. I'm going to trade it. I'm going to put it on my account. So all I have to do is just change my software. If you're going to make a change, okay, like for instance, I'm changing the account that I'm trading on, all right? You have to repress the apply button so the change gets made, all right? Then I'm going to put my charts on the account that I'm trading on, and then I'm going to turn my, enable my magnet, all right? And the long magnet is being ignored because I've turned it off. I've only got a short and I'm putting it on automatic because I don't think we're going to fill before the news at the moment. I think we're okay. Let me show you an interesting move that took place in September on this report. It was a really crazy whipsaw. And if you had the trap trade set up on the ES, you would have made some serious money on the ES trade. I love whipsaws when there is a trap trade set up. Okay. The whipsaw is your friend. Watch the ES. Whippy kind of behavior is going to give you a good fill because what's going to happen is you're going to get filled on one side and not the other. Let me make sure I'm not, it's not the right video. I want to make sure I show you the right video. Hold on, hold on, hold on. It was over here. Look at that candle. Look at that candle. Let me go back, show it to you. That's the kind of move you want when you're trading a trap trade. That could wind up being $500 in profit if you get that kind of a whip, as long as you get a decent fill. That's the key. As long as you get the fill. So in other words, what would happen is you were filled short and then it shoots way down, right? You get a nice short fill and the price pulls all the way down like that. And that's where you take your profit. And if it's really going fast and you just don't know what to do, hit the close button. When you have a monster profit like that and you're worried that you
At
can't get out
10
of
a.m.
the
Eastern
trade,
Time, we get University of
I
Michigan
don't
data,
normally
sentiment,
recommend
forecast
pressing the
71 on the price
close
70
button
spot
because it
5 with a
doesn't
range
give
of
you good
73.5 to
fills, but
68. 1 year
it
inflation
certainly
forecast
could
2.7%
in
on
that
the prior
case still give you a very
2.7%.
large profit.
5 year inflation forecast
So
3% on the
what
prior
I would like
3%.
to see
Expectations
right
forecast
now, our
75 on the
price
prior
is
74 spot 1. And
26.98.
conditions forecast 65 spot 5 on the prior
15 ticks
64 spot
away
9.
is our magnet entry on the high. That's $15. That's 150 ticks. That's why I said this high of the day not going to be a factor in this trade. The other thing I have to say, I'm a little bit worried about the behavior of the ES because it's pushing, pushing, pushing. I'm not dying to take a trap that doesn't respect the reversal. Okay. That's definitely a concern. We want our reversal. Okay. So, when you have a situation, what I would like to see is a little bit of downward movement on the ES before the event so that we can have faith that we might be able to get that setup to work. Now, the gold trap that I would set up is as follows. The gold trap, 10 o'clock, if you're using the previous software as your activation time. Current software, you're 9:59:55. How do you know if you're using the current software? It will not give you a prep seconds choice. It won't be there. You won't have the option for prep seconds. So if you have the option for prep seconds, it'll say time of event, and the time of event is 10 o'clock. Otherwise, 9:59:55, 9:59:55. The stop on gold trap is 25, and our tiers 15 and 32. 15 and 32. It's 15 and 30 or 15 and 32, either or. 32 gives you 2 ticks of extra safety. Label the trade, okay? Don't forget to label the trade. GC trap. And don't forget to choose a chart, proper account that you're going to trade. Position size 1 is a 1, position size 2 is a 1. That's the gold setup. I actually like the ES setup better, but they both have been medium. I'm not going to lie to you today and say that these are great setups. They're not great, okay? The gold breakout has not been trading all that well on this particular report. So there's definite risk on these setups. Keep that in mind. I like the magnet better than any setup today at all. You could also trade an ES magnet down to the VWAP. If the news is negative and the ES decides to test the VWAP, that's a potential magnet. Okay? If you don't know how to set that up, let me show you. Right click, click on strategies, turn on magnet, custom level. VWAP is a custom level. The VWAP level is 6,462. So that's the level you put in. 6,462. Very easy. You know, maybe you want to use MES. That's fine. So let's say you use 2 positions for argument's sake. And let's say our target is 15 ticks. All right. And our stop is 20 ticks. Leave it at that for the moment. And then you're going to scroll down, label it ES magnet, choose an account, apply it, and OK it. Now, when you enable the ES magnet, you're going to get your heavy set line. Right now, that's the exit. So you want your fill above that because we're short, right? We have about a 15 tick target.
At 10
We
a.m.
have
Eastern
about a
Time, we get University
15
of
tick
Michigan data
target.
sentiment forecast 71 on the price, 70 spot 5, with
So
a
if
range of
our level,
73 spot
let's say
5 to
our level
68.
is
1 year inflation
6,005,
forecast 2.7% on the price,
so 4
2.7%.
points
5-year
would be
inflation forecast
16
3% on the
ticks.
prior, 3%. Expectations
So
forecast 75 on the
6,000,
prior, 74 spot 1, and
you
conditions
know, somewhere
forecast for
in this
65
area,
spot 5 on the prior, 64
6,006. If
spot
we
9.
do 6,006 as our entry, okay, if 6,006 is our entry, to get to 6,004, that's really only 8 ticks, right? That's only 8 ticks. So I'd probably bring it up a little higher. Let's go to 6007. Our chart's pretty spread apart, okay? So if you get a burst down to this area, it may very well test the VWAP. That's
EU's von der Leyen says, I admit there are areas where Europe needs to be more
12
competitive.
ticks. You might want to adjust your target tiny bit smaller. Okay, ES magnet. I'm just going to go back to the strategy and set my ES magnet to target 12 ticks. All right, and I'm not going to leave this set up. So this is a possible trade. Magnet for the ES 6007. When we set it up, our magnet was 6004, right? Our custom level. It's going to be different now because we've moved the orders. All right. So don't forget, we've moved the orders. Make your custom level right at the VWAP and then move your orders up. Move your orders up about 12 ticks. Set your target for 12 ticks. I'm using a 20 stop and I'm trading a couple of contracts. All right. When you enable it, you're going to see where your fill is. The fill is the heavy line. But remember, I'm trading the trap. After the trade, we'll come back and we'll analyze what would have happened. I hope everybody remembered to please always go the time is, and check your time sync always, every day. First thing you do in the morning, check your time sync. Now, I do have to tell everyone I'm going to close the room the moment my trade is over. I have to be somewhere exactly at 10 o'clock. So as soon as I'm done managing the trade, I'm going to say goodbye on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Thanks for joining the stream. So I'm going to say it now because I'm going to close very fast because I have a meeting I cannot miss. Okay. It's important. And, but I'm going to wait till the trade is resolved. But I'm not going to have time to do a lot of analysis. For our trade room members, we'll do our analysis in the WASD room. Don't forget, we'll be back to WASD at 11:30. Okay. What's a WASD? Well, it's a grain report. That's what a WASD is. I think there's a real possibility that this magnet gets tested and traded for a profit over here.
1 minute remaining. I'll lead with
I'm
the
looking
US
for a move
Michigan
down
sentiment prelim.
to fill gold and test the low. There's a good possibility because gold is a little bit negative on the day right now. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. But I'm going to manage my trap trade because the magnet will pretty much take care of itself. It will not fill to the long side, even if it should get there, because I have it turned off. I don't believe it'll go that far, everyone. It's very far. It's $17. That's 176. This report's never
10
moved like
seconds.
that, ever. Okay. Make sure you can see your
Order
trap trade
submitted.
buttons. The news is now out.
73 higher than forecast. 71 1-year inflation. 2.6%.
Not a very
2.6%
big
lower than
response,
forecast.
everybody.
2.7%.
Very, very
5-year
small.
inflation.
Get ready
3.1%.
to cancel
3.1% higher
the
than
trap.
forecast.
Get
3%.
ready to cancel the
Expectation
ES trap.
78.5. 78.5 higher than forecast. 75. Conditions
We
64.4.
basically had no move.
64.4 lower than
We
forecast.
basically had not a
65.5.
tradable move. So this is interesting because we've seen a pretty small move on this report 2 months in a row. 2 months in a row. Normally, I would give a full minute before I would cancel this. I would not allow it to go down and fill me long. That would not be allowed on the ES. Not allowed. On the ES, if it went up and filled me short, I would allow that if it did it right now. But it's not doing it at all. We just have no trade on either trade, everybody. It happens. Cancel
Order canceled.
ES, cancel magnet, very small response. 2 months in a row on this report. We're going to have to look at our setups and maybe look for something else. Thank you everyone for joining with us on YouTube. I'm going to turn